Right, welcome to this video on Master Computer Science on normalization, and today we're looking at the first normal form. So normalization is used in all relational databases, and the first normal form is the first thing you do. Now, a database or a database table is in first normal form if every attribute is atomic. Okay, so what does that mean? Atomic, I think it's from the Greek, it means indivisible, the smallest possible thing. So you cannot divide it any further. Just like atoms when they thought they were the smallest thing. First normal form you'll often see written just as 1NF, so don't get confused if you see that. You'll see that commonly. So we have a table here to demonstrate this. We've got a product ID key here. We've got the colour of the product and the price of the product. This is not in first normal form because in the colour column here, these are divisible values. So we've got red and blue and red and blue and yellow and blue are divisible. You could make them smaller because they obviously have two values there. So this would break any database. You couldn't index it, you couldn't search it, you couldn't say this is paint. I couldn't go in and say, right, I want blue paint, because I would either get too many paints brought back or I wouldn't get all of the blue ones. So in order to make this atomic, it would be fairly simple in this case to just take out the blue. I mean, red and blue, I'm colourblind, so I don't know what colour that would make, but let's say that's just an error someone's made in data input. And then we might have another product down here, which is blue, and we put in the correct price. Let's say that's $13.99. Like so. Okay, so that's now atomic values. You often get this error with phone numbers. What people do is put in two phone numbers available in their database. That's incorrect. If you want to take in more than one phone number or more than one mobile phone number, what you would do is say, well, here's my customer table, and I'm going to build another table which is phone numbers. And then in that phone numbers, as we've discussed before, you could have the primary key being the phone number itself, and then you could link it to a customer by the customer ID. Okay, I'm going to draw that because that might help a little bit. Okay, so what you have, you've got your customer ID. Let's just call that customer ID, and then you have name and so on along there. I won't bother filling all that in. And then you'd have another table saying, let's call it phone number. And you say that's the mobile number of each person, and then that's the primary key, and then the customer ID would be your foreign key. Okay, so let's say I've got customer number 1 is Ben, and Ben has got two mobile phone numbers he wants to put on. So 07777777777. I imagine you paid a lot for that phone number. And then the customer ID would be 1. And then his second phone number, let's say that's 07654321098. Ben has very cool phone numbers. There we go. So his customer ID then could still be the same, and then we can link those and say, well, Ben's got two numbers. Everything's atomic here because my primary key is different every time. My customer ID can be the same. It's indivisible. Each of these attributes is indivisible. So it's atomic, so it meets my first normal form rule. Okay.